Well, good afternoon, New Spirit family. It is so good to be here with you for this week's devotional, hoping that this video finds you safe and blessed in the Lord. I'm here in my backyard and just going and looking at my trees and just kind of checking my backyard. And of course, most of you know I have a fig tree that I'm proud of, and it's right behind me here. It's a tree that I planted, a little dwarf tree that I planted 6 years ago when we first started the church, and it's grown into an amazing tree, a very fruitful tree. And as I was going and looking at the tree, it reminded me of a passage that many people find difficulty with, and it's found in Mark chapter 11, verses 12 to 14, where it tells us that as Jesus was leaving Bethany and headed to Jerusalem, that he goes and he finds a fig tree, and he was hungry, and he went looking for something to eat on it. But when he went, he found nothing but leaves. But then it tells us, for it was not the season for figs. And so Jesus curses the fig tree and says, may no one eat from you ever again. And a lot of people have found difficulty with this passage because they would ask, why would Jesus curse a tree for not having fruit outside of fig season? I mean, is it the tree's fault? A lot of people have even said that Jesus lost his temper and has a temper tantrum and have difficulty understanding it. But for me, who owns a fig tree, it makes total sense. You see, that fig tree is representative, a symbol of Israel. The fig has always been, even in the Old Testament, a symbol that stands for the nation of Israel. As Jesus leaves Bethany to head over to Jerusalem, what you will read in the context is that Jesus goes and he finds an unfruitful temple, a temple that has been turned into a temple for a den for thieves and robbers. In other words, it's a fruitless temple. So that tree represents now the nation, the religion of Israel that has become fruitless. And so in the same way as Jesus is infuriated with this fruitless tree, and he curses this tree, so also will become that of the religion of Jerusalem that has now become barren of God. But there's more to it, because a lot of people have said, why did Jesus do this in a season outside of figs? Let me show you something. If you look up there, you will see there are green little buds. And a lot of people don't know this, but right now it's not the season for figs. In fact, the season for figs has come and gone. But this tree is a very fruitful tree, and it still produces those green buds throughout the year. So when Jesus comes to this tree, it doesn't say that he came looking for figs. It says he came looking for anything on it, anything. And he found nothing but leaves. In other words, when Jesus came to that tree, he found a tree that was fruitless anyway. In other words, it didn't matter what season it was. It didn't produce fruit. And that is why Jesus cursed this tree, because it did not do what it was meant to do. It was meant to produce fruit. That temple in Jerusalem was meant to produce spiritual fruit. So Jesus condemns this tree in the same way, because he went looking for anything at all, and he found nothing but leaves. In the same way, this tree, even though it's outside of season, anyone could come to it and see that it is a fruitful tree. Even though those little green buds are a little bitter to the taste, if you're really hungry and you're looking for a quick snack, they'll do the work. And Jesus would have been satisfied. He would have been content with just the fruit buds. And so the message is clear here in the same way for us, that when Jesus comes looking at our lives, he's looking for any kind of spiritual fruit to look and see that we are fruitful in our lives. And we have to be ready in season and out of season. That is why that passage is there in the New Testament, that we be ready at all times, because we don't know when our time before the Lord, when our judgment comes, when the Lord calls us. We don't know when God will examine our lives and will hold us accountable for those things. So be fruitful in your lives. And remember, just as in this fruit tree here, even though it may not be the season, even in times out of season, as Peter reminds us, we always have to be diligent about our work. May this message inspire you to continue in the good work and to press on in the gospel work. Until next time, my friends, God bless.